Welcome to the first episode of Launchpad EIC, where ambition meets direction. I'm your host, Marina, and today I'm joined by Heidi Pandya, Chief Growth and Revenue Officer at Resilient Healthcare. When I first joined Resilient Healthcare, she quickly became a mentor of mine. And that's because she challenged me to think big and gave me the opportunities to take on meaningful responsibilities and become visible in my own career. So she's had a significant impact on how I approach my career, which is exactly why I wanted Heidi to be our first guest on Launchpad EIC. Heidi, thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm honored.
Yeah. To get us started, can you give us a little introduction about yourself and your career journey at a high level?
Yeah, I absolutely can. Okay, so I will say my career started in Austin at a .com back during, well, I'll say when the internet was new and Google was a mystery or in its infancy. So that dates me. I know that absolutely dates me, but it was when I became a number nerd. So I started there, but I always knew I wanted to work in healthcare. I had a desire to really change healthcare, make an impact in healthcare. So I've spent the last 20 plus years as a healthcare consultant. I led strategy for the North Texas division of HCA here in the Dallas Metroplex, and then eventually made my way over to Resilient Healthcare, which I had stood up acute care at home with Resilient and New Resilient. And really, I say it's the intersection of my why and my passion. I want to change healthcare. I want to innovate the way that we deliver healthcare. And so that is what has led me to where I am today. So that's a little bit about my background.
What an inspiring journey, Heidi. That's amazing.
It's been fun. It's been a roller coaster for sure.
So, with that roller coaster, today's topic is really focused on becoming visible throughout your career. And so, the first question is, what was that pivotal move or step that you made to become more memorable in your career path?
I don't think there was one single thing, but I will say early on in my career when I made the jump. So I worked in the internet industry and I jumped over to healthcare and started as an intern, and I had to define my brand. And it was really early on saying, how do I want to be known? And maybe that's so cliche now, but what is your personal brand? How do you want to be known? And so what put me out there and made me visible, and as I think about even getting selected to be on teams and consulting, it was how I showed up and defining how I intended to show up. Therefore, that defined how people saw me. And I knew that I started to build early in my career a personal brand of being reliable, being prepared, and being a team player, being curious. I cannot emphasize enough the need to constantly be curious, being confident, but also being humble. Like I said, I started my career over. I had worked in a different industry for years, for 5 years, and then started in healthcare as an intern, and I was willing to start over. And then I think really important because sometimes we're scared of making mistakes, but it's being accountable.
Mm.
It's okay to make mistakes, but own them and fix it. And that's what I learned early on. And so I took all of that and made it my early on career brand that has kind of hopefully carried with me. I like to, but ultimately that's what people saw. And then they started inviting me into the room. And then they started giving me more of the tasks like you talked about, giving me more opportunity, challenging me. And so that's what helped make me visible in a sea of hundreds of other interns at a large accounting firm where I was working in the advisory practice. That's what made me stand out.
That is such great advice. When you're so early in your career, it's hard to make those jumps, those risks that you just explained that you took. Um, what kind of aspects should someone consider when defining their personal brand to make those decisions and when to make those jumps or take those risks?
Oh my gosh, that's such an excellent question. So I think it comes with mindset. Okay, number one, you own your career. So know that. I think about my career as stepping stones of what I'm trying to learn because I constantly love to learn. So thinking about it less about title, thinking about it of as I think about my journey and where do I think I have gaps? This requires being vulnerable, and that's a big kind of theme throughout my leadership. But being vulnerable, where do I see my gaps? And where do I need to go to fill those gaps? And it took a career jump for me to fill what I was trying to personally and professionally accomplish. And I think thinking about, the bite size of what are some gaps that I need to fill today and how might I do that can give you the confidence and the understanding to make that leap or try the new project. It's not even going to a different company or a different industry. It's trying a different project.
I think that's when the, new projects are provided to us throughout the first like 10 years of our careers. And that's when you really learn who you are and the kind of work that you want to do day in and day out, right?
You learn what you want to do and you learn what you don't want to do and recognize that's learning as well.
Yes.
It's okay to say, I've learned this. It doesn't bring me joy in my portfolio, but given the choice, I'd like to focus over here. That's okay. That's absolutely okay.
I've definitely learned that the hard way,
I
switching
think we
from
all
my
do.
PhD to corporate America. I agree, it is okay, and it's okay to learn the hard way. You won't know what you don't know, right? So
Yeah.
that's
Give
great.
yourself grace. We are human. Give yourself grace.
Especially in ambiguous environments, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Very much so.
Okay, so I mean, you kind of covered our second question with like what really actually gets someone placed on those high visibility projects. But if you have any other points you wanted to make, what did it take for you personally to really get put in those rooms and then to be, the first person someone thinks of to take on that project?
Sure. Okay. So a couple things to add into your language. So I was always willing to say yes
Okay.
and especially to a new challenge. So the kind of the phrase I would use when asked to be on something if I never worked on it before was, I've never done that before, but I'm willing to learn. So just that willingness to learn. The other thing is I wholeheartedly understand work-life balance and we can't extend ourselves so much so that it impacts the current projects we're on and such. So the other thing that kept me visible, even if I had to say no to going onto a project, was not just saying no, but offering a solution. So I got to know my teammates really well and what their career goals were. I'm not talking about people that reported to me. They were my peers, the people at my level. I understood what they were trying to accomplish in their careers as well. And so I could go back and say, you know what? Unfortunately, I don't have the bandwidth to support you on that project without impacting my current project, but I know that Marina would be wonderful for this. It's in her goals to learn this. So have you tried talking to her? So I'm saying no, but I'm saying it with offering a solution versus just saying no.
Right.
Therefore, I became known as being really resourceful. And I became known as almost like a leader amongst my peers as well, because I truly cared about them being successful too. And people knew that I had my pulse on who was interested in doing what. So that's something as well that I think helped keep me visible, even in the times that saying no may have like caused someone to scratch me off their list. They kept me on their list.
I think that's a great point you made, especially because early in career we think like we do have to say yes to everything to get every opportunity, say yes, 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 and then we stretch ourselves super thin and we lose that work-life balance. It's okay, I think, a little bit in your early 20s to have a little imbalanced work-life
Yeah.
balance, right? But I like the point that you made that even if you do say no, that you can offer other solutions and still stay visible while not taking on too much on your plate where you're stretched super thin.
I'm right there with you. I think your work-life balance it's a journey over your life, over your career, and pushing yourself, especially early on in your career, to truly ask yourself, do I have the bandwidth? I would ask myself by taking this on, is it going to impact the other project I'm on?
Yeah.
Is it going to impact the other work I'm doing? Let's be honest, there are times you can't say no. Like it's all hands on deck,
You're
right?
voluntold, right?
You're voluntold. Yeah, exactly. You're voluntold to do something. You've got to say yes. Those are some of the best projects I ever worked on, were the ones where I was told, like, you're going here on Monday. But ultimately thinking about it from challenging myself and taking on enough to challenge myself, but not so much that my work product was going to get impacted to where, again, my brand would get
Right.
impacted.
Well, thanks for that advice. That's
Yeah.
really good advice. I think that's something most people don't consider when they are early in their
Yeah.
career. So, as a leeway into our last question, what is one hard truth about building a career that early in career professionals need to hear but almost never apply, never do?
Okay, so this one, maybe no, I wouldn't say like no one does this, but I think we all have to think about it. And my comment here is there is a fine line between confidence and arrogance. And to me, it actually goes into my leadership style as well as in my leadership journey. My leadership style is constantly evolving, but I say that there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance because being confident, I'll give you an example. I'm confident where I am in my career that I can put together a really good team that can be successful and deliver really successfully. Now, I'm not so arrogant as to believe that I have all the answers, though, as the leader of that team. I recognize I have gaps. I recognize that the best thing I can do is find people around me that can fill those gaps. That's what makes a great team. And if I think I'm the smartest person in the room, then that's a problem.
Mhm.
I'm in the wrong room.
Yeah.
And I'm quickly going to rub people the wrong way. And it goes back all the way back to that first question of like a mindset of being curious.
Mhm.
And with that, it's a hard lesson, especially in a life of instant gratification, to recognize that your career, you're so early in your careers that it's a journey and you don't have to have the title tomorrow.
Right.
I very much have pushed myself to say it's not necessarily about the title. It's about the roles, the responsibility. Am I adding value and am I being valued in the roles
Mhm.
I'm in? And obviously fairly compensated along with that. So, value myself enough to be compensated in that way. But kind of putting that all together, your career is a journey. It will take time. You will not be the CEO tomorrow. I once mock interviewed someone that said, in 5 years, I want to be in your seat. And I was like, oh, well, it took me 10 years to get here. What did I do wrong? And that was almost arrogance on their part. So back to the confidence versus arrogance. And so kind of putting all of that together is it's a journey. Give yourself that time, enjoy it. It's the only life we have. Enjoy it. And also recognize that in that, the best thing you can possibly do, I think, early in your career is be a sponge and learn, and you let yourself learn. Offer your thoughts. Don't be quiet in the room, but also learn from those that are in the room because that's a big part of your role at this point in your careers.
That's like a great way to close out this conversation. I think early in career really do need to hear that because they're nervous, one, to be so curious. They don't want to look like they don't know and that they're ready to take on anything and they know all the answers. But it's okay not to know, especially when you're early in your career. It's okay to be
Yes.
curious. And it's nice to hear that coming from people who are in executive roles that know to look for skills that are being curious, essentially.
Yeah, we're just going to get back to
Yeah.
accountability. It is
Yeah.
okay to be curious. You just had it like dead on. We will make mistakes. Be accountable for those mistakes.
Yeah.
So be curious, be accountable. And you said something that reminds me just another lesson learned. I will own my mistakes. I made plenty of mistakes. Another lesson learned was it is absolutely okay to say, I don't know, let me get back to you. I threw out numbers once thinking I remember the exact percentages. And I
Oh,
was far off. And the executive team ran with the numbers I had thrown out there. What I should have done is say, I don't know. Can I get back to you? That is an okay statement. So own that statement to
yeah.
you, put it in your
I
portfolio.
think, yeah, I think that's an experience. I think I would be mortified if I
Oh,
gave the wrong answer. But I go through that daily when someone asks me a question and I'm like, oh my God, I should have known that. I should know the answer. Just throw out what I think. But it is okay to like take a step back and say, okay, wait, I don't know. Let me figure this out for you and I'll come
yeah.
back to
I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me get back to you. Those
you.
are absolutely okay statements.
Oh, thank you so much, Heidi. This was a great conversation. I hope that our listeners at least learned one thing new from your conversation about becoming visible. To all the listeners out there, if you enjoyed this first episode of Launchpad EIC, please follow along and leave a comment on any topic you'd like to hear in our next few episodes. Again, thank
Thank
you,
you so
Heidi.
much. Such an honor to be your first guest. Thank you
Oh,
so
thank you
much.
so
And
much. Bye.
best wishes.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.